Welcome to this slightly different video of my epic stuff. So this is not a battle report, as it's obvious, but I'm going to go through my Marine army, the painted sections, or more or less painted sections of it anyway, and then I'll probably do a second video where I talk about little of the tactics I use when I field Space Marines. So yeah, this is practically all of my painted models. I have a whole bunch of more that I haven't painted yet, and I have some ideas of what I need to do, but I haven't yet gotten so far. So let's look at the first bits of this Marine army. And the first things that we do is look at my main part of the army. So this is a third battle company and its support sections. So we have an armory section on the left and the battle company on the right. So here's the commander of the army. So there is a standard bearer, an apothecary, the commander, and then there is a heavy mortar marine and a regular marine in the stand. Behind them we have the jump packs, so the assault squads of the third company, and there is a chapline in the formation. So that's the chapline. I don't think you can see it very effectively. Then behind the assaults we have the tactical detachments. So we have two tactical detachments. One on the left here, which has a captain model in the first squad in the front there. So 6 units and 3 rhinos. And then we have the second tactical detachment as well, which is another 6 units and 3 rhinos. Now in here we can see the slight difference that I started to do when I started painting my Marine army is that first I just painted the bases green, and then I started flopping them, and nowadays I'm not actually painting the base green in the bottom, so there is just the black sprue can be seen there instead of the green painted sprue as on the left. Then we have the Devastators, so they have an old style rhino for them. I had all of my Devastators to have an old style rhino just because I have a bunch of them and I wanted to use them. And in here we can see a tech marine in the right front. So that would be, there is a tech marine in the front. Now I use tech marine as a stand-in for a librarian. I think librarian is a pretty good choice for Devastators, as the extra macro weapon firefight attack is then kind of more useful than in most other units because they have a good firefight value. But we'll talk about that in the other video. Then I have 2 dreadnoughts, so one support and one close combat version. Yeah, I use those for Devastators of them as a support if I do drop them from Thunderhawk. And then finally we have 5 land speeders for this company. Yeah. Then let's look at the armory section. So in here we have 4 Vindicators. Behind them we have 4 Predator Destructors. So all of them are painted for third company with the red 3 in the front. Then we have 4 Annihilators, very much used in Marine armies, at least in my Marine armies. I like Predators and Destructors especially. Then we have Whirlwind Detachment, so 4 Whirlwinds. One of the few things in Marines that give you a barrage template, so in its own sense a very good unit. Then we have 4 hunters, and of course these are not a detachment, but they're used as an upgrades to the other formations. And then we have in the back we have 8 Razorbacks, 4 last cannon and 4 heavy bolt Razorbacks. So I can take both types whenever I need them. And that's the third company. Okay, then let's look at the other parts of the Marines that I have, which are not part of the third company. And they are here, at least the infantry and some of the vehicles involved. So, here's the first from the bottom left. And in here we have 4th Company Marines, I think, if I remember the color codes correctly. So these are green trimmed Marines, so I think that's the 4th Company. So we have Assault Squad, or Assault Detachment, with 4 Assault Marines squad stands. Then we have Devastators, obviously, yes. And in there we have Librarian in the front, so he's leading the Devastators there. So again, the old style rhinos with the green in front and number 4 in there. This is not the best camera for zooming, so I'll try not to avoid zooming that much. Try to get the focus done correctly by putting it. And here is tacticals for 4th Company. Again, in here we can see the original method that I just painted the bases green and didn't do anything else in them. So that's what they were originally looking like before I started flocking them, which is what happened here. And they're missing their rhinos. I haven't painted enough rhinos for them. Then we have another set of land speeders, a really good formation in the Marines, really useful. And another set of whirlwinds, so that's then 2 detachments of whirlwinds that I can field in one mission. And finally we have blue trimmed Marines, so I think these are from one of the support companies. So 4 Devastators with their old style rhinos. Then let's look at the 1st Company stuff. So in here we have Terminators, so 2 detachment of Terminators. On the left there we have a captain. I haven't painted the banner yet, so that's something I should really get down to at some point. But I don't use the model very often because I tend to use the chapline in the Terminators, and that's the 2nd detachment here. And in here we have the chapline in the center. I've also made slight test on the heavy weapons of the Terminators by giving one an assault cannon and one the missile launcher that the Terminators use on the top of their shoulders. So yes. Then we have 4 Land Raiders. No company-based coloring on them because they can be used as an extra to the detachments or just transport for the Terminators. And then we have one more tactical detachment, except this is now the veterans of the 1st Company with the white trim. Again, something that they miss the rhinos, so that's something I have to start fixing at some point. And then finally we have scouts. So in here we have 4 scout units, and I have put a Space Marine character in the middle in the first stand. Unfortunately, the Space Marine character is slightly smaller than the scout, so I don't think it can be seen on the video, but They are slightly more smaller models than the Scout models, which is kind of amusing considering that the Scouts are not yet full Space Marines, but the Captain obviously would be. Then move on to air power. Here. So on the left we have two Games Workshop Thunderhawks. One is on a flying stand, the other is on the ground. So those are very much used models in the Space Marine Army, obviously because of the need for Thunderhawks. Then I have landing craft, something to carry a lot of units, should I ever feel the need to do this. And finally we have a drop pod in here. So I painted one drop pod because I need when you use drop pods in the game you need a marker for it, so I kind of used this one for that. And then I've added a Marine onto the base. I don't think it can be seen very easily though in here. Let's see if I can. There we go. Slightly more zoomed version, and it's more or less visible. But yeah, it's a third company Marine that I've just a regular third company Marine that I've just put on the base. Kind of give the impression that the Marines are jumping out of the drop pod. Then the last part of the air power. So these are now Forge World models. Definitely larger than their predecessors, so that would be a Games Workshop Thunderhawk, and that would be the Forge World Thunderhawk. So more detailed, but very much larger model. And then we have two Thunderhawk transporters. Now obviously you don't really use these in a regular Marine list, but you do use them in the Signs of Iron list that I also use, so that's why I have them. You could, I suppose, they're about the same size as landing craft, so you could use them as stand-ins for landing crafts. So this is the final part that I have for Marines. There is some partially painted models, a couple of models that are a couple of Land Riders that are lacking weapons, and then some modified Land Riders. And I use these in various situations, such as using Science of Iron Marine list. So let's look at them in more detail. Although let's not look at the unpainted bikes more in detail. There is one bike with Chaplain in it, and the sidecar bike, the attack bike. Here we have two weaponless Land Raiders. I use the two weaponless Land Raiders for the Crusaders, just to make sure that they're easily recognizable when looking around. I'm not that good of a modeler, so I don't know how I would do the Hurricane Stormbolters. I probably could get the twin assault cannons, but the Hurricane Bolters is questionable. Okay, then we have a Land Raider Prometheus here. Now this was done for me by a friend of mine, so that's why the model is there. So the Prometheus is the command tank for the Signs of Iron. Then in addition we have 4 Land Rider Helioses. So basically it's a Land Rider that replaces the Heavy Bolter with the multi-launcher from Whirlwind. So it's a pretty useful detachment in the Signs of Iron list that I do use from time to time. And that's all my Marines. The music was by Kevin MacLeod, and the software I used can be seen here. Thanks for watching.